Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast episode 15 with your amazing and lovely hosts,
Vladi, Kuna, and
Norman Gräter. And today's topic is something that we find very interesting, Vladi and myself. It's the 4 level of consciousness. And we will guide you through the 4 levels and discuss them a little bit. And you just see where you think you are most of the time, because we all want to raise in our consciousness and in our awareness. And this goes very well together in having faith and building more faith, because the more you raise up in the levels, the more faith you need to build. And this kicks us right into level 1, where I want to start, and it's called the victim consciousness. You're the victim. You say, life is happening to me. And to touch what we spoke in the last podcast, watching the news is exactly like that. Did you ever realize when they tell you good evening for the evening news, that for the next 15 or 20 minutes, however long they talk, they tell you the exact opposite? They say good evening, and then they tell you stuff that are so opposed from the good evening. And only by that you should be aware that they just not really lie to you, but that they filter out the most negative stuff in the world. And people that are drawn and stuck in the victim consciousness, they blame it on all the others. It's the others' fault, it's the economy, it's the politics, it's the neighbors, it's the co-workers, it's the boss, it's the spouse. It's always the other person. They blame it on them, they change. But what does this mean on the opposite side for themselves? That they can stay the way they are, right? And this does not go well with nature. Everything in nature either grows or it dies. If it stays still, it's on the tendency to die. So like nature needs to grow, we need to grow. And the moment you say somebody else needs to change, that I can stay the way I am, you are on the edge of going backwards. And this is not so very nice. People at this level, they feel very often powerless. They are at the mercy of circumstances. At least they see themselves like that. They believe that external situations are the cause of their problem. And if the external circumstances would be gone, they are happy. And usually they ask themselves things like, why is it happening to me? There's nothing I can do. Life is so unfair. I'm at the mercy of. We had that. And I read a beautiful quote in German that projects very well the difference between the victim consciousness and a higher consciousness. And let me translate it very freely in this moment I look at it. The conscious human being takes care of his or her health, like the overall health. An unconscious person gives power to the doctor that the doctor can take care of his sickness that the person inherited. And we see so many people, Vladi and I, if it's a little sickness or if it's something major like cancer or even other burnout, heart attack things, that this is eventually a sign by the universe. It's a sign that you're stuck somewhere in the victim consciousness. You blame others. You say it has nothing to do with me. They are wrong and they need to change. So your body gives you a sign, and like cancer is always a sign of missing self-love. And the moment you don't change that, the moment you keep up hating people or blaming others or putting your fingers out at others, the sickness which appears to be against you for victim consciousness people probably comes back to show you the same sign again, because you did not learn anything in the first round. And this would be a very sad thing. Can you change? Can you realize that if you should be stuck in the victim consciousness, that there is a way out? And the solution is take responsibility and realize that you are not helpless, that it's all up to you. And this leads us really in a straightforward way to consciousness level number 2, Vladi.
consciousness level 2 is creator consciousness. And I love the word creator because you are creator of your life, always and always. Whether you experience and have results in your life you like or love and don't like, you created them. It's where your focus goes. And what is creator consciousness is where you believe that it's by you. So it's created by you. I create my own life. And I think when you go from what Norman just said, taking responsibility, here you actually start taking action on taking responsibility. And before I explain to you what it is, I remember my point of transformation happened when I took responsibility for everything. So I'm saying I actually have, it's funny, oh, I don't have my phone with me, but I have an affirmation which pops up 12 o'clock and noon every day. And I say that every day still. It's, I'm responsible for my life, my feelings, my thoughts, my personal growth, and every result I get. And I know that sometimes it's tough because, this creator consciousness is where you take a responsibility and say, and you change from, oh, why is this happening to me, to something like I can influence my reality through my thoughts, feelings, and actions. You become more aware. Now you know that I can actually do something. You may practice the discipline. You start doing the gratitude. You set your goals, start working on yourself. You take ownership for the outcomes, for the results. If there are results you don't like in your life, be kind to yourself. Just say, okay, this is what's happening and it's not happening. It's why I'm creating. How can I change that? What can I do to change the way of having a different results? And really starts with decision. So it's where creator consciousness is where you take the personal responsibility for your next step, for studying. Because unless we're aware of something, we can't change it actually. It's not about, sometimes people, and I'm going to actually point this lovingly, but sometimes people say, oh, don't say it this way. And I'm going to put my hand up because I've been doing this in a coaching as well. We tend to say, change it into positive. However, we're labeling things. If we really go to a neutral way of understanding, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's what you feel and how you change your vibration that matters. If somebody says, oh, you're stupid, there will be people who get insulted, people who get mad, you creating your life by the way you respond or react. So really react to life. So that's the constant pressure to succeed, which is the truth. You have to make a decision. I want to be the best version of myself, or I want to be the successful person. Like we talk about this success, but the level of consciousness of creator means you make a decision that I want to create this life and I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it. So, to succeed, it doesn't matter how everyone feels or thinks about you. You take control of everything and don't allow the circumstances and conditions. And I know some of you may be in situations you don't like. Remember, it's temporary. If you work on yourself, it will, by law, by the natural God's laws, it will change. And that brings us to a next level of consciousness, number 3.
And it's the channel consciousness. And this basically means if you're a channel, life flows through me. And as Pastor Jensen Franklin said, that I really love to watch a couple of years ago, he always said, be the vessel. Be the vessel. And I inherited that in my keynotes, that in the early days, I had to structure everything. I had a script with me, with 63 pages, and I read word by word because I thought if I forget a word, people might lose my point and some people might don't understand things. But nowadays, I very often go to the keynote, and while this little intro movie that I usually have plays, I just say, use me. Use me to the higher power. Use me as the vessel. I'm the vessel. I'm collecting the things that are coming from top, like you put water in a vessel, in a glass, and then from the water it gets poured out to the masses, in my case, to all the listeners. So can you be in this phase number 3? Can you be the channel? Can you trust life? Can you allow life to flow through you? Because people on this level number 3, they allow life to guide them and trust in a higher order. And to trust in a higher order, you have to trust in a higher power. Brings us back to the faith building podcast. Can I have faith that there's some secret source, I wanted to say, some secret power that's on my side? It's like the law of gravity. Law of gravity is always on my side. If I get out of bed, or if I go next to my desk, or if I get into the car or out of the car, wherever I drive to. I just know, I expect that the law of gravity works everywhere. Can you expect, if you're on level number 3, that you're the channel, the vessel, that source is coming through you and you're just the human projection of source, delivering some kind of information or whatever you do? Those people realize they don't have control over everything. And this is what brings us back to the victim consciousness. Those people need control over everything. They need to be perfectionists and they need to do it on their own, that they know it's done. The channel consciousness is more like, I trust, I can give it up, I can let it flow. And instead of controlling everything, can you just go with the flow and allow life to happen through you? And a typical thought of a person who's in the channel consciousness is, I'm a channel for inspiration, creativity, and love. What Vladi shared earlier, her noon message. Can you put some I am statements out? And if people approach you, you just say, all is well. And if they ask, no, why should all be well? Didn't you watch the news? So why do you have the idea that all is well? And you just enter from the deepest point in your conscious or subconsciousness and from your soul and your heart. You just tell them, because I am here. Everything is well, because I am here. And I don't mean that in an egoistic way of saying, I'm here, I'm the best, I'm the proudest, I'm the beautifulest, I'm whatever. No. But from this deep level of we are all one, what Vladi shared earlier, that we are connected, that we are not separated. Just as a victim consciousness, you see everything separated. But if you're the channel, you allow more inspiration and intuition to flow through you. And again, from a professional speaker standpoint, I can only give you the advice, the moment you allow inspiration to flow through you and spirit be kind of your guide, you can still have your golden thread, which means your PowerPoint or your flip chart or whatever you have. Still, whenever you get small inspirations, can you follow this new path and just be a channel and trust that somebody needs to hear that right now, whatever you have in mind? And in this stage, it's about intuition. It's about surrender and, most important, about co-creation with the universe or God or the higher self or whatever you want to call it. And the moment you mastered level 3, the channel consciousness, you can move up to level 4. Vladi.
Level 4 is what we all aim for. I'm going to say that sentence because that is our desire. And it's a oneness consciousness. It means, and Norman actually, it's as me, but it is I am. Because really, I want to start, before I actually give you more details on this, I grabbed this, that's why I turn around. It is actually Norman's book, I Am Gräter. But he's got the Gräter with the Gräter because that's his German pronunciation. However, I'd love to actually read what, there you go. It's a perfect way to bring it because he stated that I'm Gräter. And that one of my morning affirmations is day by day, every day, I'm getting better and greater in every way. I know the master said better and better every day, but since Norman was talking about greater, I thought I want to be better and greater than in every way. And I'm going to read you quickly what I wrote about I am, just partly. It's, we are one with the universe and God. And all we have to do is become aware of this. I am is the most powerful sentence, and what comes after the statement I am is the self-definition of the absolute. And that was the beginning of, because Norman really wrote, get the book, by the way, because it really is amazing. And I want to say, this is something that you need to, what is the I am statements you make? is so crucial, because this level of consciousness, the oneness consciousness, is I am life. It's realizing that, like Neil Donald Walsh, where we actually attended one of his webinars with Norman, he said, you are an individualized wave of the ocean. So you can never be separate from the ocean. So the God is the ocean, and we all extension of the God. This is why Norman in the last episode pointed out to you that we all learn from each other. But the biggest problem we face today is a separation. We want to be the best. I want to be unique. And that's nothing wrong to be the best and unique. But if the intention is to not to work together, but just to be selfishly separated, it is part of separation. It is part of this oneness consciousness. And there are many masters out there, and I don't want to be judgmental, but they do talk about, like understanding all the materials and knowing the I am. But by the way they live and actions they take are not showing the oneness. Oneness means that you are actually helping others people to rise up with you. You're helping others to grow. In fact, the greatest coaches are those who will create far more successful people than themselves. See, for me, if somebody does better than me through the coaching, it gives me so much joy, because that also makes sure like what I am doing and what we're doing, it's amazing. So this I am highest level of consciousness, there is no separation between individuals and itself. So when Norman says that, like I've published a book, it gives me so much joy as if I've published mine. But really, let's be honest, guys, how many times we really honestly feel that? Or what is the first thoughts? And I'm not being like, don't be judgmental, be easy on yourself. And I always say that, have the self-compassion. But be aware, because that is actually the abundance blocks we create. If the first thought that comes to us is, oh, my neighbor has a new car, it gives you that, that feeling like the jealousy or envy, or that suggests the separation. And we're talking about the oneness consciousness. It's at this stage, you can say, I am pure love. You find deep peace. So something's happening out there, the news you hear, or somebody tells you something, and it doesn't do anything to you. You're so self-aware. You feel so much peace and love that it's just, that they're not quite there yet, and they're getting upset because probably something's happening in their life, so they're reacting. It really is part of it, because once we know people's story, we become more compassionate about it. But being the oneness consciousness, it's you feel peace. I think a person where I felt that who actually has this is actually Esther Hicks and Abraham. When we go to we actually go to Amsterdam, it's that level of total peace and focus on others and helping them, and it's the divinity. It's being part of a divine source. So that the universe and the people, you're the same person as somebody else. So I am the person who is connected to all of you. So if I'm doing well, then everyone else around me is doing well. If I'm not doing well, then nobody around me is doing well. And if I can help someone to bring them up, I'm bringing myself up as well. So it's really that oneness where you realize that you won with everything. And how can you really help? And I'll hand it back to Norm, but how can you help yourself on a daily exercise? Because we're helping you to give you tips as well. When I swim, for example, I would make I am statements both ways of the lengths of the swim. So I feel the joy of a swimming, I feel an exercise, I find whatever it is, maybe you're running or walking or cooking or listening to, like exercising, whatever you find is the way that you calming yourself or you enjoying the activity of your personal choice. Say I am. So I would say I'm lovable and loved. I'm lovable and loving. I'm lovable and loving. And I would swim all the way there and back, just keep walking and feel it. It's not about how many times I say that in those, minute I swim there and back. It's about how you're feeling when you're saying it. It's better to say it 5 times and really connect to it than quickly stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm loving and lovable, I'm loving and lovable. It's not tick box. It's a feeling you have to create and really be in that peace zone.
I totally agree. And this combines all four levels because the higher you raise in the levels, the more trust and inner peace you experience. And like you just shared your experience with the I am statements while you swim, the question that comes from time to time when people ask, now, do I have to feel if I say I'm powerful, but I don't feel like it? Eventually, in my Ho'oponopono practitioner practice or study back then, the teacher said, you don't have to really feel or believe what you say. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. The Ho'oponopono statements. And yet, he said, the more you bring feeling into it, the faster it goes. But the idea is that you calm yourself down with saying those statements. And it's the same with the I am statements. If you cannot feel that you're powerful, it will calm you down. It's again what we spoke about in the last episode and 2 episodes ago about focus. If you focus on the news, if you focus on your sickness, if you allow your doctor to heal you and treat your sickness rather than you being conscious enough to say, what do I do to prevent it, that it does not even get there, the more you put your focus on the positive things, the easier and lighter it will feel within. And you can use that with the I am statements too. This means you say, I'm powerful, but you feel like crap. If you say I'm powerful for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you will realize that the anger, the frustration, the whatever bad emotion you experience right now will eventually go away because you only focus on powerful. And you will realize how the power will come. And then if you go swimming like Vladi, you probably realize that you can push even more. And at one point, you really have the strength and the power behind it and say, I am powerful. And you get faster and faster and faster. So no matter if you feel it in the beginning, just continue doing it because, again, life is not happening to you. It's happening with you or through you. There are different versions of it. And probably for our next episode, we can go a little deeper into the I am statement. And as Vladi just mentioned, Neil Donald Walsh and the ocean being God or the universe and the wave being you and everything in unity. I think this is a very, very beautiful topic to go deeper into that as it will build so much more faith for our upcoming journey. So whatever you decide on, if it's the victim consciousness, the creator consciousness, the channel consciousness, or the highest, the oneness consciousness, it's up to you. You have a chance every second to decide different, so no pressure at all. There's still time. And just do your very best to raise up those levels and then stay in the higher levels, not again for anybody else, but just for you and your inner feeling and peace. And I leave it to Vladi to have our closing words today.
You know what? When we were talking, it just came to me. Just remember, this was a really great point. I'm going to close it with this. Guys, you're doing everything for yourself. You have to remember, we show up. I know we sometimes say, no, I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for my partner. I'm doing this for my parents. And we are to a certain point, but this is your life. And the higher you rise for yourself, because that when you're doing it for yourself, you're connecting to the right goal, the right dream, right vision. You're following your own path. And when the terror barrier comes, when we make a decision to do something and we actually hit the terror barrier, if you're connected to yourself and you know you're going for things you would love, you will get through. So many people say, I've been doing all these things, and people sometimes are not connected to the right goal. They don't have the why, which is really meaningful to them. They're doing it for someone else. And don't get me wrong, this is sometimes subconscious, so we don't actually know that we're being driven to follow a goal that maybe we listened to our parents' whole life. If you become a doctor, you will do so well in life. I mean, I used to, I partly studied law because I thought if I'm a lawyer, I'll be more. But I've learned in my life it wasn't truth, and in fact, I had 0 time freedom. And you do this for yourself. And the more you're aware of things, we're giving you we're touching on topics, but ask us. You can reach out to us and ask us if you want to talk deeper on something. But we're equally would love to encourage you, go and find out more. There's great materials and speakers and stuff on the subjects we're topping. So, that gives you the awareness, which really was what brought us where we are. We started with listening to people and awareness because we weren't aware there are things. We weren't aware that there are consciousness levels. We didn't know how we can actually shift things to start making them for our own benefits and creating a life we would love. So I'm going to finish with that, and we will talk about the I am next episode because it is really a great topic. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I will see you next time.
Bye-bye.